I think, recognize the seriousness of this conduct. And instead, what we have is a continuing escalation of violence to what I think is a very dangerous situation in this family. I think he tends to look at his mental health condition as sort of him as the victim. But I think the diagnosis that was given by Talbot House of intermittent explosive disorder demonstrates the danger that he represents in this family. And, I think prior supervision has demonstrated that he cannot comply with the court's orders. I have a great deal of concern that Ms. Wheeler herself does not recognize the seriousness of this, and I do not think that she is in a position to protect herself or her children in what is a potentially very dangerous, violent situation. I do not think that he is a good candidate for community control, and our recommendation is for a prison sentence.
He had already been given chances, supervision, and even treatment, but the violence kept coming back. Now the judge has to decide whether another chance could put this family at even greater risk. And what happens next changes everything.
I know the court is considering the possibility of judicial release to a CBCF sometime into the future, but I think it's important that there is some separation here between Mr. Baird and Ms. Wheeler and her family in order for her own safety.
Officer Henry?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, thank you, Judge. We appreciate the state's position, but there is a level that Chris he's accepting responsibility and has accepted responsibility because he's taken on his own actions and gone and sought out a private counselor, sought out medication changes. He understands his diagnosis and he's dealing with that by seeing his counselor weekly and following through with that. And as you heard from Ms. Wheeler, she's noticed a change in the last 12 months once the medications have been changed around and he's getting the appropriate help and care. They obviously want their family together. We understand, like I said, that there has been a history, but it's never been addressed properly. I know it's been brought up, he's on county court supervision, but you know as well as I know over there, that supervision is, hey, we're going to hang some jail days over your head, and if you mess up, you're going to jail. Not with the appropriate care that this court can provide him and making sure that he sticks with that treatment program, that medication program, and so we're not back here doing this again. Prison is not the right answer. Education, healthcare, that is the solution, not a prison sentence. Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Baird, you get the last word in all of this. What do you want to tell me?
Yeah, I've learned a lot about myself, and through the counseling and through the medication, I really have noticed a change in myself. I'm really eager to, have you guys help me with the mental health. I appreciate everything you guys have done for me, and I really want to be with my family and show you guys that I really am making the right steps to take to be on top of my game and to be back where I need to be for my family.
So here's where I'm at in this case, Mr. Baird. If you look at the history of this case, the pre-sentence investigation in this case, your criminal history, it seems there seems to be a pattern of first we have violence, followed by minimization of that violence, not only by you, but also by Ms. Wheeler. And then there's a reduction or an amendment, followed by probation, followed by another incident of violence or violating protection orders. You strike me as the kind of guy who's just going to do what you're going to do. I'm not unsympathetic to the efforts that you have made. I do believe that medications and mental health interventions probably are helping in this case. But at some point, Mr. Baird, this is all going to stop. And I don't know what other thing to do except to send you to prison because significant intervention is needed in this case because we cannot continue this cycle of violence, probation, get back together, violence, temporary protection orders. You violate those protection orders, and then you come to court and question whether or not you even did anything wrong in the first place. Court's going to sentence you to 48 months in prison on the third-degree felony. I'm going to sentence you to 12 months in prison on the violation of protection order, 180 days in jail on the violation protection order. Those are all going to be served concurrently, which means at the same time as one another. This also carries with it a mandatory period of post-release control. That means you are going to be supervised from anywhere to 1 to 3 years by the adult parole authority. If you violate the terms of that supervision, you can be returned to prison for up to 1/2 of my original sentence. Or if you violate by committing a new felony, then you can be returned to prison for up to 1 year, or the amount of time you have left on post-release control. It's automatically whichever of those is the longer period, and it's automatically consecutive to the sentence that you would receive for the new felony. I'm going to give you credit for the 29 days of jail that you have already done. I'm not going to impose a fine, and I am going to impose the costs. Anything else we need to do? Anything I forgot?
Your Honor, I think we need to clarify the sentencing or the change of plea on count 1 listed the maximum prison term as 36 months, but the PSI listed as 60 months. But I don't think this is a 60 month.
I thought it was an F3 heavy. It's not.
The plea form listed as 36 months.
So yeah, it looks like abduction is not an F3 heavy. It is so the maximum penalty is 36 months. And he has not been convicted of 2 or more first-degree felonies that would make it heavy.
Agreed.
Right? Okay. All right. All right. So not 48 months, 36 months.
So 36 months on count 1.
36 months on count 1, 12 months on count 2, or on the F4, and 180 days in jail on the misdemeanor.
Counts 2 and 3 concurrent.
36 count 1.
36 count 1, 12 months concurrent, 180 days concurrent.
Yeah.
29 days of jail time credit, no fines, post-release control. Anything else we need to do? Anything else that I botched in the sentencing portion?
No.
All right, Mr. Baird, you do have the right to appeal this to the 12th District Court of Appeals in Middletown. If you don't have the funds to hire a lawyer to obtain a transcript or to pay the cost, they will all be provided to you without charge. I am going to remand you to the custody of the county sheriff pending transport to the institution. Good luck to you, Mr. Baird.
You imposing costs, Judge?
Yes.
I'll come over and say, those are my keys. Hold on, she good.
I'll take over.
The judge wasn't ignoring his mental health treatment, but the pattern of violence was impossible to overlook. After repeated chances and repeated violations, the court finally drew the line: prison.